Hello students, this is Poonam teacher back with a new chapter of Science 2, that is chapter 3, Life Processes in Living Organisms, part 2nd. In this chapter, we'll be dealing with reproduction and its various types. So what is reproduction? Reproduction is the process in which an individual will produce another organism or another individual of its own kind. But reproduction is not that essential for the continuance of the life. Then why does reproduction take place? Reproduction takes place for the continuance of the species, for the maintenance of that particular species, for the formation of the community or the population of one kind of an organism. There are various types of reproduction like asexual and sexual. Let's see the asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction does not involve two different organisms, but it is uniparental reproduction in which a single organism can give rise to another organism of its own kind. What is the advantage of this asexual reproduction? It is a very fast process, as any organism do not require to search the partner for reproduction. And what is the drawback of this asexual reproduction? It involves absence of genetic recombination. Absence of genetic recombination means there is as there are no two different organisms involved, the genetic recombination will not take place. That means there is not going to be any kind of change into the genetic sequence, because as it is asexual reproduction, as only one parent is involved into it, the new organism which will be produced, it is going to be very much similar to the parent, and there is not going to be any kind of variation. So this is one of the disadvantage of asexual reproduction. And then what is the advantage? That it is a very fast process, and at a time many organisms comes into existence from a single organism. So it is not a time consuming process as in case of sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction is a time consuming process, but asexual reproduction is a fast process. Now, what are the types of asexual reproduction? Now, this asexual reproduction can take place into unicellular organisms also and multicellular organisms also. In unicellular organism, we can see that there is binary fission. Binary means two, and fission means to split, to get divided. For this binary fission can be seen into protist and the prokaryotes. Now, what do you understand by prokaryotes? Prokaryotes means the living organisms which do not possess true nucleus. So these are known as prokaryotes, and eukaryotes are those organisms which possess true nucleus. Then what do you understand by protist? Protists are such kind of organisms which cannot be categorized as animals or the plants, but these are the special kind of eukaryotes. They possess true nucleus, and the examples are amoeba, plasmodium, then algae. Algae is a protist with a chloroplast. Okay, now let's see the binary fission. For the binary fission, you have one activity is given, in which you have to take a conical flask and you have to fill a stagnant water into it, and that stagnant water should also have some aquatic plants, and then take some wheat grains and keep it in and add those wheat grains into that conical flask with that stagnant water. Keep it for 3 to 4 days. The plants will decompose, and it will give rise to various kinds of paramecium. And then take a drop of that water, put it on a slide, then cover it, put a cover slip on that drop, and observe it under a compound microscope. We will notice various kinds of paramecium moving here and there, and also we can see that they are performing the binary fission. Binary fission is a type of asexual reproduction in which these parameciums are going to divide horizontally, which will be known as transverse binary fission. And then this paramecium can give rise to two similar daughter cells or two similar daughter paramecium. So this is known as binary fission. And then there are axes of fission. That means it depends upon the plane, the type, the what kind of division is there according to the plane. So that is known as axis of fission. So paramecium will perform transverse binary fission because it is going to divide horizontally, while you can see this euglena divides vertically, and that is why it is known as longitudinal binary fission.